hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraka, and on Street Talk, what we do, we talk about things happening here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad, from political, social, and economics. Joining me tonight,
Dennis Burnside,
Charles Thomas,
and
Paget Maynard.
Okay, man, we got a lot to cover, but we was talking about the 200 and some soldiers who had been killed, and Trump come back and said in a couple of days after he met with the
North Korean dictator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, they shipped back and everything, and it has not been one shipped back.
Well, as usual, Trump pulled that out of the most handy orifice he carries around, the one he sits on. He claimed to have the remains of 250 U.S. soldiers returned, Korean War veterans returned to the United States. Not one has been shipped back. And it just aligns with everything that came out of that so-called summit in Singapore. The only thing that came out of that meeting was Trump elevated the North Korean government to an equal with the United States government. You got the stars and stripes flying next to the North Korean flag, and you've got Trump talking about what a great guy this is and how they connected and they could read each other's thoughts. The day or two after he insults the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau and pretty much defecates on all of our allies of NATO. The man is a threat to national security, and he's always been viewed as a threat to national security by intelligence agents within the U.S. government. They know he's a Putin's tool. And like you were saying before the show, Chuck, a lot of the things he's done over there is at Putin's request, if not order. This is what Putin wants. So Trump has no historical knowledge for anything. Not of the Ukraine, not of Crimea, not of the North Korean War, not of the Vietnam War, not of economy, not of our NATO alliance, not of our trade alliances. He has no understanding of any of these things.
Dennis, the problem with that is he doesn't even have people around him who can tell him something.
No.
And he feels he knows.
Well, what he's doing is he's bluffing his way through life, as he's done with his so-called business career, which was a disaster. Let's not mitigate that. The only reason he didn't go completely bankrupt was you had Deutsche Bank, which was money laundering Soviet oligarch money to the point that they got fined $250 million. That kept him alive with loans. And now we come to find out that retiring Justice Kennedy's son was a leader of this real estate division that kept loaning money to Trump when no one else would. So we look at all these different conflicts of interest, and I guess what you come down to say is this man has the brain of a bird, he has the ethics of a snake, and he's now, quote unquote, the president of the United States, and everything he's doing is to the detriment of the United States economy, our political standing, our economic standing, everything in the world. But it's always to the benefit of Putin, and you still have people out there, that 40% base in the Fox News crowd, who see nothing wrong with what he does.
They prefer to have a dictator.
Right.
Absolutely. They want to be told what to do. Make it right, Daddy.
But see, the thing is that if it was anybody else, You know, if it had been Obama, oh man.
Yeah, he'd been fire squad.
Yeah, oh he'd have probably been dead. You know, because they, you know.
But this is the GOP's fault, man. Because if you look at the GOP, what they've always done is they've had these economic policies that are set up to benefit the 1%. Mm-hmm. And they have these pro-military policies that are set to benefit the military-industrial complex. And they brought this not theology, but this ideology along in a way that appealed to the right-wing churchgoers and the right-wing Archie Bunkers type, because they seasoned it, they marinated it with a nice coating of racism and misogyny. Woman, stay in your place. Blackie, go out in the field, pick cottons. Mexican, go over there and work at my meat packing plant for $2 an hour. And so the good old boys like that. And that's how they seasoned it. But what happened is Frankenstein's monster has now taken over. Trump's the monster in his whole administration. And what they're doing is saying that 10% seasoning, that misogyny and racism, that's now 60-70% of what we stand for. And everything else, we don't care as long as I get my cut.
Yeah, he's intoxicated with lying.
That's the only way he knows. That's his business model.
Patrick, you were saying.
Man, Dennis hit it on the head. And you know what? To add insult to injury, President Trump. I put it in quotes.
I don't even call him president.
That man, you said, talk about doing Putin's bidding. Do you know he's going to meet with Putin in a matter of days?
16th,
alone?
Yes.
Now he said, well, Putin he's okay. There's no problem. I've been prepared for this all my life. So what is this saying to us? Does that mean he had some communistic leanings all his life?
It should not be allowed.
You got to question these things now. When your leader comes out saying things of that nature, you have to wonder, because I don't know. I don't think the man even understand a cock from a hen.
No, you don't. You don't.
Let alone diplomacy.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So we are in trouble any which way we turn it.
Yeah. He's a puppet. Putin got his hand so far up that man's butt that he can't he can't turn his head without Putin.
Yeah, you know, he just simply a puppet.
Yeah.
That's what he is, a puppet, man.
For rich folks.
Yeah.
The Russians have, since the fall of the Soviet Union and the rise of the oligarchs, they developed to an art form the strategy of compromise, what they call compromise. They know how to get into your business and find out where you're vulnerable, whatever your proclivities are, especially if they're illegal, unethical, and they exploit that. I think that's a large reason why a lot of the GOP senators and congressmen, for that matter, will only speak out once they're heading out the door. Once they're resigning and giving it up, they'll tell the truth about Trump. But the ones still inside, they're either too afraid or they're too beholden. They need that money. They need that favor. We've got a serious, and I do believe it's all going to be disclosed. I do believe that there's enough high-ranking, true military hawks within our government, within military intelligence, within the FBI, CIA, et cetera, NSA, who are outraged and pissed off at what Trump's doing. They see him for the traitor that he is. But they're holding their fire and they're laying back in the cut and they're protecting Mueller. And I think when this is all disclosed, you're going to see a lot of embarrassed people on the right hand who have this holier than thou, I'm more ethical, I'm more godly than you attitude, and it's going to be revealed what they're really up to, which is that they're bought and paid for.
But see,
ugly.
But see, one of the things is if he gets one of these 4 people, now it's, they said now it's 2 on the on the court. I'm afraid, man, that he's going to get away with most of this junk.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, if you look at the court, you look at this woman, Amy Barrett. She's in this weird Catholic sect or subsect of a cult, which believes that they tell each other all their personal business so they can help each other. So you cannot keep secrets from each other. women should walk behind the man and be beholden to the man. Strictly anti-abortion. Then you have this Kavanaugh cat who actually blocked a pregnant immigrant girl who had been raped from seeking out an abortion, and he was overruled. So you've got that guy. Then you've got this Kelfridge guy who is an adamant Second Amendment feed, and he's against the Voting Rights Act, and he's against the Warren Court's recipe for stopping discrimination, which was an interstate clause. And then finally, you got this guy Hardiman, who's an extremist on the Second Amendment. As far as he's concerned, you ought to be able to have a bazooka or anti-aircraft missile in your garage. Those are the people we're choosing from, and whoever comes in here is going to alternate the landscape for the next 20, 30 years. So if you extrapolate what they're talking about, that means, remember we were talking a few weeks ago and they said that those, that cake maker did not have to make a cake for the gay couple because of his religious affiliations. Just it's a matter of time before a black couple walks in and some hotel owner or manager says, you know, the Book of Ham says, nah, I don't have to serve you. You don't get a room here. And then you're going to have an awakening in this country where, how did this happen? Yeah, because you voted for Trump.
What's going to stop this?
People in the streets, man. Because the Democrats don't have a lot of power to stop this next select nomination and then the process. The only thing that can stop it, if they really go radical and they stop it, they just stop all activity, block all the committees, et cetera, et cetera. But even that, I don't think is going to stop McConnell. What it's really going to take is going to take millions around the White House, millions of people around the Capitol, millions putting their life and limb on the line and saying, enough of this.
But
enough of the minority ruling the majority.
We need to see people stepping up to the plate.
Absolutely.
Get out there, talk. Call your senator, call your congressman, and let them know just how you feel. Because, listen, don't forget, the same McConnell who could not have seen it fit to have a hearing on a nominee from Obama because the election was coming up in November and this was February. But now it's okay. This is July to November, 4 months.
But see,
but they're willing to do that.
But see, it
hypocrites.
They of the first order.
They in charge of both houses, man. So, you know, they're laughing. Oh, we can make we make it in the decision we want. But this next selection, man, is going to have an effect, man, 30, 40 years from now.
Oh yeah. You know? Absolutely.
Oh boy, 40 years from now, I may not be around. Not likely that I'll be around. But you know what? My grandkids, their kids would be around, and they're going to be suffering. And guess what? They are going to be suffering because we did not do what we needed to do today.
Well,
got to pay the piper.
Well, the thing is that, you know, a lot of us didn't vote. A lot of us voted, and you know, vote didn't get counted. But when we look at the main thing, man, is that of all the things that we didn't do, we should have done something, man, so Trump couldn't have put these two people that he has put on.
But wait a second. Dennis said a while ago that this same justice who is resigning,
Kennedy,
son, was working where?
At
Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank.
That Trump was getting his monies from.
The only source he had.
And Putin was connected in that.
Do you? That's true.
That's why Deutsche Bank got fined $250 million for money laundering.
And do you know that in the talks the other day, it came off, well, Trump got to Kennedy because, well, we'll make sure your legacy is preserved. And he agreed to step down. I don't think he was willing to step down right now, but he got some guarantees.
Well, the thing is that, you know, they were...
Something with a lot of malfeasance happen. Something happened.
Yeah, well, you know, one of the things is now, you know, Kennedy he was, I don't want to say a right winger, but he only 3 or 4 times that he
Voted with the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all
I mean,
the rest
he's a key contributor to the Citizens United, where they took an unrelated case and used that as an opportunity to put in this horrible opinion that says money is speech.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the corporations, being people,
Yeah.
have the right to express their speech
Yep.
through campaign contributions.
Yeah.
And you don't have to divulge how much or where they come from.
That's
In other words, they sold our government out.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
you have more voice, you have more leverage, and more money you have. That's Kennedy's legacy
Right.
right there. That's
Yeah.
what he ought to be
Yeah.
remembered for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
someday when he
the
joins,
Trumps.
I wish there was a hell. I really do, man, for Scalia and Kennedy and Clarence Uncle Thomas,
Yeah.
because they have sold the ability of the United States to function as a democracy down the toilet.
Mhm.
It's a kleptocracy. It's an oligarchy. It's a model that's being foisted on Europe, and they're fighting back against it. But you see in Eastern Europe and
Yeah.
even in Italy, some of these
Yep.
countries are starting to move that
Yeah.
way, and they leapfrog France and Britain because they couldn't get it there, and they got Agent Orange here
right.
doing their bidding.
And the average citizen don't see the game.
No.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of citizens do. I wouldn't go so far to say that. There's a lot of people out here who see through it, but we don't
But
have
they
the
don't
power.
care.
No, they care. We just don't
A
have
lot
the power.
of people don't. They just.
They think
Well, Trump
somebody else is
said
going
it.
to take care of it.
Trump said it, and what if? Now he's going out. Even just a few days ago, he's been out on rallies, and that make me raise some questions. Who is paying for these trips
Oh,
that he's taking? There was no indication that he was out there doing government business. Other presidents, when they're going out, whether fundraiser or what, they make certain they did federal business that day in that place, and then they were at the meeting the night.
Well,
Trump hasn't been doing that.
well,
So who is paying?
he's campaigning now. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah, that's all he knows how to do.
Yeah, he haven't been in the office 2 years, and he's campaigning.
You
know-
talk about that's all you know. What he's doing is lying. Did
Well-
you hear him out there lying all over his teeth?
Yeah,
That's the only thing you know.
right. He runs to places. He runs to the places where he, you know, his people are. You know, if you notice, man.
Supporters.
Yeah,
NRA supporters.
yeah. You know, if he goes to Pennsylvania, he goes to where his supporters. If he goes any place he go where his supporters are. You know, so you haven't seen him in California, have you?
Oh,
Yeah.
You know.
But you know, before we wrap this show up, we need to talk about this immigration
Yes.
crisis. You're looking at countries that had their governments stripped from them, had dictators who had been trained in weaponry and other surreptitious tools. Let's put it that way. Installed as these puppet dictators in Nicaragua,
Black Ops.
in El Salvador and Honduras. You know, that triangle, that CIA train in that triangle, who's created such a horrific environment that people literally are willing to walk thousands of miles to seek asylum. They step across the border, say, I want asylum. What happens? Our our ICE agents go there and they separate the children from their parents and they put them away. Now, there was a story that just came out today, July 9th, 2018, today, that said there has been discovered an office building in Phoenix, Arizona. It's like a 7-story building with all the windows blacked out. And no one really knew what was going on in this office complex. Well, come to find out, there's stuffing underage children in there. And they've got maybe 4 bathrooms in there, and no one really knows that they have shower facilities in there. The word got out, and people are starting to drop off toys and other and books and other things that will entertain children with little messages like "Stand
Right.
strong, we got you," because the government not only won't tell you who they are, hell, they probably don't know who they are. Tomorrow's the deadline for returning these underage children, these children 5 years or under, to their parents.
Yep.
We're finding out that upwards of 50% of them, they have no idea who these children are.
No.
And then you have the
Yeah, it's
deadline at
roasting.
the end of the month at July. And they said there was 2,400 children. We're finding out now it's over 3,000
Right.
children.
Yeah.
And again, 55% of them have no idea where their mother and
Yep.
fathers are
Yep.
and how to get in touch with them. The government doesn't know either.
And they in
This is
full-blown-
What
a
they're
humanitarian
doing-
disaster.
Yeah,
What
they-
they're
they
doing
in
now is
full-
taking DNA from these kids. Now, some of these parents have been deported already.
Yeah. Mhm.
Some 19, another 19, they don't know where these people are.
Yeah.
And how are you going to take DNA from a minor without parental consent?
Right.
Well, the
They're
parental
just
consent ain't the
constantly
issue.
violating their own rules.
The parental consent ain't a concern to them, obviously.
Yeah.
You go take a child out the mother's arm
There's
when it's
something else I
breastfeeding.
got to wonder too, with all these blocking out the windows and things. Where are the girls? You realize that nobody could tell you where these young girls are?
No.
The other day over in Africa when this group took those 200 and some
Yeah, 200
school
something.
girls,
And then
we, America,
yeah. Oh, we was
we
quite.
were gone,
Yeah,
we got to go get them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now we take these
Do the same
girls.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing the same thing.
What are we doing to them?
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
No. It's man. It's just really.
Unraveling.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is that now another thing the Republicans are trying to get. What's this group that's doing all this?
ICE?
Yeah. Oh, they're doing a great job. The Democrats, they just don't want them, and it's like, man.
The Democrats want to bring in this MS-13.
And you
Well,
know, the thing is,
according to
if you look at the facts, if you look at the FACTSs, you'll see that immigration from Mexico and South America, for that matter, have been on a steady decline since
Yes.
Obama turned the economy
Yeah.
around because Mexicans don't need to come here for work.
Yeah.
And if you really wanted to stop the illegal immigration that does occur, because it is an issue.
Yeah.
We do need to have secure borders.
Yeah.
But that really isn't the issue that today that
We
it
need
was
secure
in the
borders,
90s
but
and
we
80s.
don't
But if
need
you
a wall.
really want to stop it, all you have to do is go into Paul's meat packing plant, or the situation we had in Ohio a couple weeks ago, where they went in on lunch break and lured all these people into the break room of free Dunkin' Donuts, and then handcuffed them and sent them home
Yes,
with
Steve.
no regard to the children in daycare.
Yeah.
Except if you really want to stop this, go to Paul, go to George, go to Mary, and say, we have proven that you've been using undocumented workers for the last 3 years. You're going to pay for the cost of deporting them,
Right.
and it'll stop right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But see, they don't want to do that.
No.
They
But
don't
what's
wanna
the
punish
impact?
us.
when
No,
they
that's
do
their
that?
base.
Yeah, they don't want to mess up corporate America.
No,
Yeah, they
no,
keep money,
no.
the money flow.
So they'll wink at them,
Yeah.
and they'll brutalize some people, but then they'll let more people in to replace them and keep them insecure, so they don't come out at night. They don't try to vote. They don't try to become citizens.
Yeah.
They just go pick that tobacco,
Yeah.
or they go work in that plant in the
Yeah.
slaughterhouse,
Yeah, pick
or they go
crops.
mop floors, whatever they do, quietly and go home and live in fear.
Yeah.
That's the environment they want.
And when they do that, what's the impact now? You, me, and everybody else gonna have to pay more.
Oh, yeah.
Because we depend on these people
Laborers.
coming in here to cut the cabbages and whatnot.
Right.
They're working in the fields to feed us.
Yeah, but the
But
same.
they're not even getting a good living wage.
But the same people who, the Mexicans coming in, blah, 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 blah. But these are the same people who own these farms and
Yeah,
then,
corporations.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you know, they coming in, but the
Which
same,
means they're not sincere.
right.
See,
right.
they really don't want the flow of undocumented workers to come in, but they use it a way to rile up your average Joe
Yep,
Archie
yep.
Bunker, Edith Bunker
Yeah,
type,
yeah.
who you know, the worst thing you can do is pontificate on world events when you don't study the world. for their groceries and clothes, not realizing it's suppressing local economies. That person there is the one who is writing his own death sentence. But they won't pick up a newspaper. They don't pay attention to anything but what's being piped in the ear by Fox News and Bill O'Reilly and that type. That's their source. They don't know anything.
No, they don't read.
Yeah, of course not.
Let me ask you
And
something.
then they'll tell you that you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and everything on TV is slanted.
Still on this immigration stuff. Kids. I mean, infants.
Babies.
Just about.
Yeah.
Breastfeeding babies.
They have in front of a judge
Yeah.
to defend himself, herself, as to why they want asylum. Now, no representation. Number one, they still have the right to representation, legal representation. They're not getting that. No adults with them. And I saw it myself. And the kids don't know. They put this earphone over them. Somebody's translating in Spanish to them. They ask the guy, "Are you scared?" And what are you expecting? This little one with the bottle sucking on the bottle.
Traumatized.
Yeah.
What are you asking these kids?
And all they want is
I
mommy and
understand
poppy.
one judge is so
Yeah.
upset, dismayed, whatever word you want to use there, that he doesn't even know what to say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's how low America has
Right.
come since Trump been in there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, we talked about it before, but this country, man, and
It's going south.
yeah, fast.
And if you ain't got no plan, you're going to go down the drain with it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, Chuck.
But you were saying, what do you think, man? We got a bunch of kids here, a bunch of parents already back in Mexico or wherever.
Or Honduras or
Yeah.
El Salvador, Nicaragua,
So, I mean, what do you think?
Well, if all you have to do is follow the money. That one company that I was just talking about that bought that office building and blocked out all the windows, they knew this was coming. So you don't spontaneously buy,
Spend that kind of money.
and then all of a sudden there's a market available for it. They knew this was coming. So what you're looking at is billions of dollars
Oh, yes.
being made by the prison industrial complex. You know, they ran out of Negroes to imprison, so now they're
So they got
focusing
the
on
brownies.
immigration, and they're putting these people in prison, and their pay is their reward is these hundreds of millions of dollar contracts to them. It's just a cash grab. There's no threat on the border. There's no reason to do this rashly. Obama, the Mexicans call Obama the deporter in chief,
Right.
because he actually was deporting people and stopping the flow, but it was based on a rational policy, and it certainly wasn't
more humane.
separating children from their parents.
Right.
What Trump and these guys are doing, it's just a way to fund the coffers. It's putting more money in the coffers. It's a money grab.
Yeah.
You were saying?
Well, I'm saying that we need a plan to protect ourselves and protect our children, because we see the direction that this is going. I mean, if they can do that openly with immigrants, and we here too, and we're a problem, and they have no more use for us. I mean, the days are numbered.
That's right.
You were saying, Patrick?
Oh, man, we're just about out of time. So we'll have to get into that another time.
Okay, we definitely will. My name is Ahmad Shakaraka, and we'll catch you down the next block for more Street Talk. Peace.
Peace.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, "You are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power. And I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.